Hello, and welcome to today's quote and question. This is the quote and question I'm presenting today from Ask Yourself This. You can find it by subscribing via various places. My social media, my personal social media at Payne, which I'm on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook. And you can also find it via Ask Yourself This sites. Ask Yourself This on Facebook, which is facebook.com/AskYourselfThis, and search for Ask Yourself This also on Instagram, and you can find it as well. If you don't have an Ask Yourself This journal, say that 3 times fast, then you are missing out on a great way to keep ideas not in your head, you want them out of your head and put them down and carry them with you. And we have 2 different styles. They're both black, they're both beautiful, and one is a regular bound version, such as like a moleskin, or one's a spiral version for folding flat. You can find those with links to those everywhere as well. Now let's get into the actual quote and question for the day. For those of you not familiar with how this works, Ask Yourself This is a book, it's a journal, it's a movement, if you will, that gives you every single day a quote, because people love quotes today, a question that is inspired by the quote, where I find nice quotes, I see what question inspires me, and I put them down, and something for you to think about in that question. So if you're looking for journal topics, journal ideas, if you're one of those type of people looking for interesting ideas to spur your creativity, there you go. If you're following along with our daily journaling activities, this is what we use every single day. And if you just want a little quick say, that's interesting, I wonder what I think about that, you can check that out at the various places. Doing a better job of shoring up all these praises for the brand, but the best places to find them right now is if you follow me on social media at Payne, or facebook.com/AskYourselfThis. That's the best place, because these come out every single morning at 6:35 officially. Now, today's quote and question for today, being Friday, June the 15th, 2018, of course. Here's our quote, coming from Aristotle. It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. Today's question: how do you shake yourself out of a funk? I've had a lot of questions lately that seems like they're sort of stuck on a theme, and that's not so much on purpose, but when I was going through quotes, I usually go through some quote websites and random generators and things like that, just looking for general quotes that interest me, inspire me. Literally, I look for the inspiration for the questions. And a couple of weeks ago, as I was going through some quotes, it seemed like there was a theme going through. So a lot of things batched up in themes lately, and the questions do seem like they are theme-like. This one is one of those where we've had a lot of questions on how do you make yourself happy, how do you get yourself psyched up for certain events. This one, another one of those things: how do you do something, and how do you shake yourself out of a funk when you're in a bad mood, when you're not in good sorts, when the stress is there and you just can't figure out how to go forward? How do you shake yourself out of a funk? Now, this is an apropos question, oddly enough, because of some situations that are recent in the news. Of course, we are a week out from the news, and a week and a day or so out from news, from celebrity suicides of Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain. That, of course, has spurred up a lot of discussion on that, and people dealing with those sort of issues. And by those sort of issues, I mean serious depression, sometimes not so serious depression, but serious depression and mental illness. We're assuming, because we don't really have the answers, that was what was the catalyst for those two, and of course brought a discussion for the weekend. Of course, other news events swiped that out of the news cycle, so that's not top of mind, if you will. But the issue still remains, and it just so happens that this one popped up just here on this day. So when you are in a funk, and we're not necessarily mean you are severely depressed or dealing with those type of issues, when you're out of it, when things aren't feeling well, when you know that you need to upgrade your attitude in the moment, how do you shake yourself out of it? How do you get yourself out of a funk? What are some things you do? Now, this is going to sound very familiar, very similar, because I basically said the same answer from yesterday's question. But when I'm in a funk, when I am stuck in a mood, when things are not working out, because they aren't, the best way I can do to shake myself out of the funk is to figure out what it is that sort of has me out of sorts, and write it down and write something of it. So the same way I force myself to be happy, it's the same way I get myself out of a funk. I guess they're similar questions. They're almost the same question, but they're basically a similar answer. Best way I can do to get myself out of a serious situation is to just kind of do some scribbling, do some doodling, do some writing, figure out what issue, maybe not be the main issue, just one issue is sort of bugging me at the moment, and then turning it into something that I can use to present, something I use to teach, to show, and sometimes just to show off, sometimes just to kind of do some skill work. That's the best way I can do to get out of a funk. When I'm really, really, really down, I will get really quiet. I'll focus on what it is that's got me going on, and I'll get the ideas down. I'll turn it into something, and hopefully it turns into something that other people can use to their advantage. That's sort of my role, and my passion is to help people get better. So that's that. So what do you do? We had a lot of people suggest yesterday when we talked about how do you make yourself happy, how you force yourself into happiness. They do a lot of things with music. Music is a quick picker-upper of emotions. You can turn yourself up or down, or just general calm based on music. Some people read things, specific things. They'll go to looking for that certain thing that always lifts them out of their depression, if you will. Some people like YouTube videos. Some people listen to a certain comedian. Some people like different shows. Some people just go and sit in silence and just don't want to be bothered and they just don't deal with it. They just, if they're in a funk, they're in a funk, and they don't shake themselves out of it. They just tell folks to leave them alone, and they wait until it's over. So that's my question for you today. What do you do to get yourself out of a funk, to shake yourself from the question as listed? And as we said, there's plenty of places you can respond to the question. You can do it on my personal social media right now. Look for J. Cleveland Payne on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. You will see about 6:35. I don't think I've actually sent the little phone image thing yet, but you can see that there and answer it in those places. You can answer it on Ask Yourself This, the social media sites on Facebook, and for Instagram, just look for Ask Yourself This. Also Twitter as well. I have a Twitter account for Ask Yourself This, but I'll be honest, I forgot the handle, so I can't figure out what to get into yet. I haven't figured out where to put the note down yet, but I'll find it, and we'll do a Twitter thing as well very soon. And of course, your own personal journaling system. I honestly do a lot of my notes taking and journaling in my Evernote app on my phone and my tablet and my laptop to kind of do things, convince so it's all synced. But I also do use paper journals. If you are not a fan of paper journals, hopefully we can make you a fan. We ask you to give a shot of our Ask Yourself This journal. It's a beautiful black journal. You can either get it spiral bound, where you can flip it flat, or you can get one that is a hardbound like a book. They're very nice, neat, awesome looking things based on your preference and what you want to carry. Both journal sized, if you will, moleskin size, general moleskin size. So if you like those types of journals we asked, check out the Ask Yourself This journal. You can use it for any sort of note taking you want to. It's just a nice little tool to have in your tool belt. Once again, we thank you so much for joining us for the journey that is Ask Yourself This. Be on the lookout for something very special next week. Actually, if you sign up for my email newsletter today, you will see it coming out today, this morning. So if you're seeing this early enough on the 15th, you're not on my personal newsletter, check out jclevelandpayne.net/newsletter, and you'll see a very special gift coming out somewhere around 9 or 10 o'clock this morning in the email, so just look out for that. Otherwise, I will present it to everyone in the forum, if you will, fairly early next week, and a great little gift, a little thing that you guys can help me out with, and hopefully it's something I can show my gratitude for keeping up with what we got going here. Once again, thank you very much. Signing out for this Friday. Join you again tomorrow for another quote and question for tomorrow, which is the 16th of June, 2018, from